Welcome to the Live the Experience podcast. Hi, my name is Lenny and I'm your host. Welcome back to a new episode of the Live the Experience podcast. Today we have a guest from India. I really wanted to talk to Pranoy about his experience with Isaac because it inspired myself a lot. Pranoy left India for the first time in his life to go on a global volunteer project to Turkey. So I was curious, what does it mean to leave your country for the first time? How do you feel? And what impressions do you take with you on such a journey? Pranoy discovered the beauty of cultural exchange and made friends from all over the world who he met in Istanbul. It turned out to be an experience that will stay for him for long. Enjoy this episode and talk to you after the episode. Pranoy, welcome to the Live the Experience podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me for the Live the Experience podcast.
It's another episode. As every episode, I'm super excited to talk about another unique experience of a young person abroad. Pranoy, you're from India, and last year in 2018, you made the bold decision to go to Turkey. Why bold? Because it was the first time you left your country. How did you feel? Take us a little bit through your feelings once you arrived at the airport in Turkey and the journey to Turkey in general.
Thank you so much for asking that question because truly it was a bold decision. One of the reason being my mom was completely against it because initially when I told her I'm going to Turkey, she might not have heard the name properly, but when she got back into her senses, she realized that it's a Muslim-dominated country, and here you go, breaking the first stereotype in a country that is being populated by 80% of Hindus, and going to a country which is more dominant with Muslim culture, immediately a normal family gets panicky, and my mom was no different. So I had to go face a lot of challenges, convincing her, made her speak to few of the people from Istanbul, made her feel safe about it, and did a lot of research on the same. Like terrorism is such a huge thing, but making your family believe that you need to get outside of your comfort zone. So it was a task. In fact, I missed a week of my experience because the visa thing did not work out. My flights got delayed, and there was a time when I was thinking that maybe I should skip it to the next year. But somehow my mom was super encouraging, and she said that like this is it, boy. You need to take it up, and probably since you're all in, you should just go dive in. So that little strike of hope really helped, and I went up to living one of the best experiences of my life.
You had a lot of hurdles in front of you from the beginning. It was not very easy to get to Turkey, right? But then once you arrived in Turkey, how did you feel stepping your first feet out of the huge airport?
Well, I was really excited. I mean, I had my GoPro all the time, so I made sure that I keep that with myself. And so the moment I went there, I kind of was expecting someone to hold my name long and bold, speaking Pranoy Biswas from India. But I was like trying to search for someone who was there, but there was no one. And as usual, I had my GoPro in front trying to find that person so that I can capture that. And luckily, I found someone running behind me. So I did not capture, so I made her do it again, saying that, listen, I need to capture this. So yeah, I finally met her. Her name was Kevser. She was my EP buddy from Isaac in Istanbul, and I was
So
really excited.
the person from Isaac in Istanbul who took care of you at the beginning.
Yeah, she was my EP buddy. She introduced me to my host family, and she was really sweet. And we had like a really nice conversation and friendship going throughout my experience. Yeah.
And then she took you to your host family. How was that meeting a family in a well, it's a new country, a new culture, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a house, in an apartment of a Turkish family. How was that for you?
So, I mean, I had the opportunity to live with two host families. I mean, the first was more like a host bachelor family. Both of them were working, and I got to live with them. There was a huge language problem because the one who actually decided to host me did not know English. So I had to download Google Translator. So that was my first hands-on experience on Google Translator, to be honest. So converting English to Turkish, Turkish to English was actually an interesting thing for me because like this is not something that happens to you every day, right? So getting to experience that was a little tough. At the same time, I saw it in a positive light. However, his friend kind of knew English, so we kind of bonded much better because he was into music too. So then I moved to my second host family, which gave me a much local experience. They were really kind, and they. Oh, I think I have to mention this. So they are unorthodox, even though they were like proper Muslims. They are atheist, and I I had the opportunity to live with a host family with literally no stereotypes. So that way, I really feel privileged because I got to stay with and share some of my personal thoughts and opinions, and vice versa. So yeah, that.
Yeah, we get to more cultural exchange and reducing stereotypes a little bit later as well. But let's first get to your project, your global volunteer project you signed up for to go to Turkey. What was your project about?
So the project was about quality education, SDG number 4 mainly, and it was really beautifully divided into four parts, which were country presentation. Then we had personal development session. We had presentation on the 17 SDGs, and obviously there were
let's just
local.
quickly let's quickly explain to the audience who do not yet know what the SDGs are, what they are.
Yes,
The SDGs are 17 sustainable development goals identified by the United Nations, and we in Isaac we decided that those align very well with what we try to accomplish. So each global volunteer project we offer is connected to one of the 17 sustainable development goals, right?
right.
And yours was connected to number 4, quality education.
Absolutely correct. So basically, what happened was we had the opportunity to enlighten the students on these important topics, which a lot of people are not even aware of, and it was really enlightening for the interns too, because we did a lot of research ourselves to understand each SDG on a much deeper level, which we probably would have just heard about but not researched too much. So this opportunity kind of helped us reflect on the subjects personally, where we got to learn and teach at the same time, where this opportunity was also used to make human connections very strongly. I mean, I absolutely love my students who took a lot from me because I used to teach them photography. So I still remember there was one of the students who on the last day of class, she gave me like a handcrafted scrapbook and told me that wherever you go and whenever you take a picture, you make sure that you cut it out and paste it there. I mean, I still have to use it, but I'm so grateful that I could impact a student on such a personal level that um, that's a sheer making a difference and an impact in general. So yeah, my project was very enlightening on the students as well as myself.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Istanbul and Turkey is in general a very popular place to go on a global volunteer project, for example, with Isaac. So I can imagine your project. You didn't do it alone, but you were joined by many different volunteers from all around the world.
Right.
How many different cultures were in your team, more or less?
So I was actually surprised to see people from across 20 plus countries. Few to name would be Egypt, Pakistan, Jordan, Morocco, then France, Russia, then Greece. Then we had people from China. Uh, we had people from Hong Kong. Oh, there was an NRI from Hong Kong. That was pretty surprising. So yeah, pretty
That's
much like
incredible.
yeah.
That's so many different cultures. So, and then I guess you had to prepare the classes together, right? And it was a lot of teamwork. How was it to work in a team of volunteers with 20 plus different cultural backgrounds?
I mean, it. I mean, I would be lying if I said that it was easy, because when you work in a team, there are obviously a lot of team building baggage that comes with it. You might not initially realize that there could be problems, but the we kind of effectively managed the personal grudges against each other and focused more on impacting the students. So there were parts where we probably did not sink in with our personal opinions, but at the end we kind of sat down, we discussed what is more important, and we kind of focused on what required to be focused at that point of time. So at the end, it turned out to be a team building thing within the among the interns, because we kind of saw the problem. We were trying to solve the problem every day to make it better, to make it more efficient. So that was a constant goal that we were trying to focus on, how to better make the experience better for the students and for ourselves. So
And
yeah.
what kind of difficulties arose working with so many different cultural backgrounds, and how did the group solve those?
Right. So mostly when it came to groups, we were divided for. So the country presentations obviously had people from those countries. Uh, it might not have such a problem as the other presentations had. For example, let's say an SDG, and let's say they're a group of three, four people, and they are so dividing the task was obviously one of the main issues, like who's going to take what, because there were few interns who were not as enthusiastic about it as the others were. So making sure that how do you exercise their human resource was one of the major problems. At the same time, we kind of divided the topic, so someone might be interested in some topic and they want to deliver that, or somebody is getting a bad one. So making sure that everyone is satisfied on a personal level when it comes to dividing the tasks was also a task in itself. But it was it was not a problem that could not be solved. It was something we saw in the light that we are here to impact people, and that is more important than our personal differences. And I somehow believe that that also came from a standpoint that since everyone had an upbringing from their own country, and probably they have their own set of leadership skills, probably no one wanted to feel bad about getting a less challenging or a more challenging for someone who doesn't want to take it yet. So yes, dividing the task and the personal upbringing because of different cultures were a major part
Yeah.
in dividing the job roles, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned that there was also someone from Pakistan, and now I'm very interested in how this interaction went, because I know that the political and cultural situation between Pakistan and your country, India, is very, let's say, hot at especially at the moment, right? And there's a lot of
Right.
history between those two cultures and countries. So, how was the interaction with the person for Pakistan with you?
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for asking this. And Pakistan has been a country which, for me, has always been seen in a positive light. Even though from my childhood, have been hearing that there has been a war between Pakistan and India. It was once upon a time all the same. So, as a child and as a person who's very curious to know things, I always wanted to know how Pakistan was like and how was it to speak to a Pakistani in person. So when I went there, and in fact, I think I should tell this. So we were added in a WhatsApp group, like all and every country had a different code, has a different code, right? Which is also seen in the group information. So I wouldn't be lying, but the first thing that I did was just scroll down and saw how many Pakistanis are there, because their country code is +92, just to be sure that okay, these many people I probably will be meeting. So there was a sort of a thing in my head that okay, I should be careful because of so many things that I've heard through my childhood. But when I actually met them, it was a completely different scenario. Obviously, it wasn't the first interaction that made it look it was really nice. It took a lot of interaction to make us feel at ease at home, make us feel that we are all humans. I'm so privileged that I had the time to make friends with people from Lahore, Karachi, and wonderful people. They made food for me. It was like I had Pakistani biryani. I've been eating biryani in India my entire life, but tasting biryani from them was an entire experience in itself. So I'm glad that I made friends like Fatima, Wadia, Taha, and I'm still in touch with them. That's the best part. We still share music and we still talk about our political differences. We know that we can't do much about it, but yeah, as long as we are alive, we can still be friends. So that was one of the most beautiful experience I would say I had over there, like making friends with Pakistanis. So that
That's such a strong example of why we believe so much in cultural exchange and this cross cultural exchange in Isaac, and why this is at the core of what we try to achieve, right? Get people into different countries, experience different cultures, and now you find yourself in Turkey, in Istanbul, meeting someone from Pakistan or several people from Pakistan, and having this exchange, right? This is so extremely powerful. I love it. I can imagine that this cultural exchange broadened your horizon immensely. You just shared your interaction with Pakistan, but also with other countries. I mean, you probably met for the first time met people from some countries, China, Hong Kong, France, Morocco, so many different countries. How did this interaction with so many different cultures help you to grow as a world citizen? One of our four leadership qualities.
right. So as you mentioned that this is my first time that I went abroad. So a year ago, it was actually a dream for me uh, to see how it would be to set foot in a different soil. And even though if I had thought that I would be getting to meet so many people abroad, that was not something I was looking forward to. It was something like a byproduct, I would say. My initial, and I left my country with, let's say, 10% expectation, and I just went there with an open mind. But when I went there and I saw so many people from different cultures, saying culture is a very vague word. However, when I experienced it, what surprised me the most was when it came to the different languages, and more importantly, the learning that comes through experiences that ex- do not exist. For example, I kind of learned that if you're a curious person and you're eager to learn, the first thing that you would be looking for is, are there things that excite you? So this exchange helped me to understand that there are things which I don't know yet, and if I don't explore, if I don't go out of my comfort zone, firstly I won't even know that there are things that exist. And if I don't know that these things exist, I wouldn't be curious, and I will never get to learn them. So this cultural exchange, meeting people from so many countries, taught me one huge lesson. That was that you really need to experience something to see the difference in yourself, on the lines of learning a new thing, making a new human connection, uh, m- uh, learning a new language, probably trying different cuisines. Everything was something that was happening to me without even me expecting it. And I had the luxury of them telling me, trying to find different places, and they taking me to different places for me to explore them. So it was a sheer pleasure of meeting so many people, and I can only be grateful for that.
I love the fact that the first time you set foot out of your own country, you have such an impactful experience, and right away you see the beauty of cultural exchange, meeting different people, and getting out of your comfort zone. I hope that your story can be an inspiration for many more young people, maybe to exactly you who are listening right now. to get out of your comfort zone, to take the huge step to go to another country and to just immerse yourself into this culture and to the cultures of the other people. So Pranoy, I'm extremely happy that I was able to talk to you and that you shared your experience with me and the bigger audience who will listen to this episode. Thank you so much for taking the time. Now, the skill for you is just to one last thing here, to take all these experiences and the learnings you had, right, the ones you just shared, and make sure that you continue living them and living into your values. Um, but this is something that needs extremely a lot of patience and consistency. But I'm very sure you will manage to do so.
Right. And I also made a content around my experience. I would love for people to know about it, and it's something that I never expected I would do for myself and through my skills, but I actually did. And I'm really glad I made that. And if this platform can help me reach that content to audience, please do help me with that.
Yes, I think it's nice to share some of the content you created for people to also get a better understanding of your experience. We'll make sure that the link will be in the description. With that, Panoy, thank you so much for taking the time and have an awesome day.
Thank you so much, Lenny. It was the pleasure is all mine.
Thank you for listening to the whole episode. I hope you were able to take something out of it. If you're curious what an Isaac experience could look like for you, make sure to contact your local Isaac office or just sign up on isaac.org and let them get in touch with you. As always, if you have any questions or if you want to share some feedback with me or other thoughts, make sure to get in contact with me. As always, you can find all links in the show notes. If you like this podcast, please rate it and share it with your friends and family. That would mean a lot to me. Until then, have a great day and talk to you next episode.